Welcome everybody. Today I have my friend Morgan Adams, and we are going to talk about all things clean and what that means. And I know that if you've been in this group long enough, you may have seen that this whole month's theme is on out with the bad, in with the good. And we're going to really spend a lot of time talking about that, what that means today. And Morgan's bringing some awesome tips for us. I even have a couple props here I'm going to show you. And Morgan is going to share a little bit about her story and why she became so passionate about this clean living and what all the things that we can do. So without further ado, welcome, Morgan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. It's good to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yes, you're so welcome. So why don't you tell everybody some of the, we're going to jump right in, you guys, and we're going to hear about Morgan's story in just a minute. And if you are just tuning in and you're just doing this now, please let us know you're here by go ahead and saying hi in the chat. And also, if you have any questions while we're going live today, please put those in the comment box. I can see them, and it's really helpful because this way we know what we can answer and who's watching. So that would be awesome for us. So thank you for that in advance. So what do you see, Morgan, are the top issues with some of the environmental or topical things, and we'll get into food and wine and beer and alcohol and that sort of thing in just a moment, but environmentally and topically, what do you see that are some of the biggest concerns or red flags?
Well, I would probably say that like my area of expertise is more along the lines of personal care products. And so what I think is probably the biggest red flag with personal care products is fragrance in them, or it's called parfum. And it is, you think of fragrance as just like something very like innocent. It's just a scent, but what it really actually means when you see fragrance in an ingredient list, it can be up to like 3,000 different undisclosed chemicals that are lurking in there. And some of them are endocrine disruptors. So it's a very, very precarious ingredient. And there is some legislation and process that's working on having companies be responsible for disclosing those ingredients and fragrance. So that's kind of in the works. That's probably the biggest area that I see as a problem in the personal care industry. Yeah. But as far as like, I mean, something that I see a lot, I mean, I see it every day on the Zoom meetings, people drinking out of plastic bottles, Oh
no, look what's in front of me too. And I was desperate today.
Hey, so. We didn't even plan that, right? Okay.
Charged, yeah.
So the BPA in plastic can be an endocrine disruptor too. So, plastics and fragrance, it's all over the place, so and it's plastic water bottles are everywhere.
Yes. So. Yeah, they really are. And I know they have the newer bottles and they're protective and that's what they recommend. And I see people more doing that, which is phenomenal news. So what's one personal item that is like one of the easiest, quickest things to turn over or switch out to that would be really beneficial for us health-wise, would you say?
I would say probably the first thing that I recommend people switch over to is to a cleaner deodorant. A lot of deodorants contain aluminum and parabens and just other really unhealthy chemicals that should not be in that very sensitive area under our arms, especially for women and we're shaving. Think about how sensitive, and open our pores are when we're shaving. So, it's interesting. I had to go through like trial and error trying to find deodorants that were safer, that actually worked. I went through probably like 6 of them. And it's a matter of just sticking to it and kind of going through that detox process, because when you begin that transition, you do smell for a little while. And it's easy to give up. I gave up once and went back to like bad deodorant. And then I really got the wake up call when I got my cancer diagnosis. I was like, I better just really buckle down and suck it up and go through that detox process.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a couple things I definitely want to dive into. I definitely want to hit on your cancer diagnosis, and that was a big part of some other areas. But let's stay on the deodorant just for a minute because this was planned. Both Morgan and I are, well, actually, Morgan's my mentor with Beauty Counter. We both are consultants for Beauty Counter, but what is your title now with them? I don't even know.
I'm a director, but it's neither here nor there.
I
I'm a
love that.
consultant, just like everyone else is.
And this whole show isn't about us promoting Beauty Counter products. It is a conversation, for sure. So I want to put that out there, that this is really about some practical things that we could be changing in and out of our environment and things that we use on our bodies. And the one thing that I love is, Morgan already said she's tried multiple deodorants. I have too. And Naive was, I think, one of the closest ones that I felt were great. And then Beauty Counter launched their new deodorant, although it's not available out to the masses.
Yeah.
Just yet, right?
Yeah. The consultants were able to get the pre-sale. Then we had a little bit of a hiccup.
Yeah. It's like a new car. The first year, there's always like a little,
so we're gonna delay the launch until things are looking good, but it should be very soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited. So as she said, they had a pre-launch for the consultants, and I was able to get some, and I will tell you, hands down, and we both tried multiples. It's the best I've ever had. And what's really cool, as you can see, it comes in this container, and then it actually is a refill. So you're not wasting the plastic. You're able just to refill that as you need. So this is a great, and it works like nobody's business. I'm telling you, it's the best deodorant I've ever used. So that is one quick and easy way to change out one thing that will make such a big difference in your health. Now let's go pause on that, because with under our arms, I used to work for a plastic surgeon. I know this can affect our breast health, which is a great segue into Morgan. Share your story, why you became so passionate about living a cleaner life, and the things that you were very conscientious about putting on your body, in your body, and how that all came to be.
Yeah, well, back November of 2018, I got diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. They caught it early, and I'm doing fine now, but it was a huge wake-up call for me. I was the kind of person who ate organic food. Now that I look back on it, I wasn't as healthy of an eater as I thought I was, compared to like what I'm looking at now in my ingredients. But at that time, I was like, I'm so healthy with my food, and I did not even think about like skincare products and makeup and how they could be harmful, because I assumed incorrectly that if it was sold in a store, if I could order it, then it was safe for me to use. I mean, I had no idea that there was such a lack of regulation in the cosmetic industry. And so I went a little bit of a different route with my cancer treatment, and I didn't go conventional right off the bat. I wanted to really tackle it from a more holistic, integrative place. And that meant that I did a lot of research and found, information about how important it was to switch over to cleaner products, because the doctors that I was talking to were not mentioning that. And that is when I started looking at the ingredients on the products that I was using, and basically had to toss out about 80% of what I had and pretty much start from scratch. And that began the launch into the Beauty Counter with me.
Yeah, that's such a great story. And you went full in, and so, and you almost needed to because of your cancer diagnosis. But when you first are talking with somebody, it's not like, hey, throw away all your products because they're all terrible. It's like, as you go through them, then think about replacing them for something cleaner. And just because things are cleaner doesn't necessarily mean, or doesn't mean rather, that they don't work. We all have this preconceived notion that just because something is clean, it's not going to work. And that is so far from the truth. So I definitely want to point that out.
And I thought that. I actually thought that in the beginning, that if I was scared, I wasn't going to be able to find products that worked. Yeah. Because a lot of them don't, things have changed lately, with clean beauty companies sprouting up. There are a lot more effective clean beauty products. But what you said was really important. I want to just go back to that, because people hear my story about the breast cancer and the whole, throwing out all these products. That is not normal. That is not like the way most people transition. And I want to let people know that it's okay to like make that transition gradually and on your own time. So when you run out of a product, look for a cleaner option.
Yeah, I love
And there are honestly still a few products that I have that are not clean. And, you know, I just haven't found an adequate substitute, you know? So it's like, I'm not perfect, you know, there's no reason why anyone should be trying to chase that perfection. We're just trying to all do better than we were last year.
Yes, and that's it. It's about making progress, right? And it's
Yes.
progress, not perfection. We all say this is a common saying with us here in the group. And you know, there's some similarities between when we're questioning our relationship with alcohol and questioning the products that we're using. It's not about you have to just give up everything. It's about dipping a toe in and seeing how it's working for you and paying attention to that. So I love that. Since we're on the subject of alcohol and being a toxin, because let's face it, alcohol is, right, it is ethanol, it is a drug. There are no safe limits to alcohol. However, I know we have a lot of people in this group that still enjoy having a cocktail from time to time. And this group is not about quitting drinking. It is about questioning the drink. It's about questioning how alcohol is working for you or not working for you in your life. And with you, Morgan, one reason why you and I connected was it was after your cancer diagnosis, and you knew that maybe your wine, your love of wine was also playing a part into possibly some of the cancer, or maybe that was related to it, and you wanted to take all precautions. So for a period of time, you did withdraw from alcohol and drinking. And then, but where are you now? Like, where has that journey been for you over the past year or so since we've known each other? And what can you share about where you are today? Because it's not what you think, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah. There've been some twists and turns.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I feel personally that I did drink too much wine, probably for 10 years leading up to the diagnosis. And I do believe that my body didn't process that wine in a normal way, which tipped my hormone imbalance and in part, I think, was responsible for the cancer. So when I got the diagnosis, again, with all my research about what to do, like what to eat, what not to eat, I cut way back on wine. And I never was able to like completely cut it out, but I drastically cut it back to maybe like 1 to 3 glasses a week, which was a lot less than I had currently been drinking. And that kind of, you know, there were periods where I may have had more, there were periods where I had less. I went through a period, actually like early in the pandemic, when I saw my alcohol intake pick up a little bit. And I think a lot of other people saw theirs too. And so it was about early May, and it was like, okay, well, it's Wednesday night, let's have a drink. Thursday night, it was like all the days blended together, right? And so with all of the emotion and anxiety associated with the pandemic, plus the drinking, I just had to cut it out completely. And I just didn't drink for like 5 weeks. And it was like the best reset I could have done for myself. So after that 5 weeks, and it was sort of like I didn't really set like, this is how long I'm going to do it. But at the end of the 5 weeks, I was like, I'm ready to have a drink. And since then, I've only been having like 1 or 3 a week, and it's been fine. I think it's what I'm doing differently is I'm not pouring a glass of wine to cope with a negative emotion. I'm pouring that glass of wine with my husband at dinner, you know, while we're having a conversation. So it's not being used as like an escape route. I think that's like, for me, the main differentiator. It's not as much like how many I had per week necessarily, although I'm definitely, you know, cognizant that any alcohol is increasing your cancer risk. Like I totally understand that. But I just know myself, and that if I'm in a bad headspace, drinking is not a good idea for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. First of
Sure.
all, for sharing your story, because sometimes it's not always easy. But here's the thing. She said something that was so key here, guys. So I hope you didn't miss it because I'm going to repeat it. She's not drinking when she feels stressed out or it's a coping. She's doing it when she's having dinner with her husband. And not to say, hey, that's okay. That's a stamp of approval. I'm not saying that either. But what I am saying is when we use alcohol as a coping mechanism or aid to escape, chill, numb out, get away from something, detract ourselves from something, that's when we really need to start paying attention to what is the thinking that's behind that, or the emotions that are coming out of that that's driving that action. So that's the key piece about when somebody should really be questioning their relationship with alcohol. And that's when it becomes, in a place where it's concerning. So I love that you brought that up in that nuanced, nuanced version of where you are now, that you will still have a glass of wine with your husband from time to time, but it's not under any sort of duress or a circumstance that's causing you to feel that it's a stressor is involved, and it's not used as a coping mechanism. So that's really key. I really wanted to make sure that we hit on that today, because it's important. It's important to recognize that. So thank you for sharing. So what
Sure.
are some other things that we can be doing, maybe even environmentally or topically, that you would recommend? And I know you had a couple tips you wanted to share.
Yeah, I pulled together sort of like a clean living tip list.
Love
We've
it.
already covered one of them, and that's like choosing cleaner beauty brands, ditching the bad deodorants. Another thing that I'll share for us women, I know you and me, Carrie, we like our lipsticks. A lot of lipsticks have heavy
Yeah.
metals in them.
Heavy
Um,
metals in the lipstick, y'all. It's
heavy
like
metals.
crazy.
So it's important to, look for brands that do some screening of heavy metals,
Hmm.
lead, cadmium. So anyway, I digress. So one of the things you can also do, this is more on my husband's end because he's the cook in the family, but it's picking safer cookware.
Ah,
So like stainless steel or cast iron or green nonstick cookware. You definitely don't want to have like any kind of cookware with that Teflon on it.
oh yeah, no Teflon.
That's bad.
Teflon's bad. I'm writing some of this down.
Um, so another thing is when you're looking for furniture is to look for products, items that don't have flame retardants.
Oh,
Because flame retardants are endocrine disruptors. And I know that like back in the 70s and 80s, everything was coated with them
wow.
because they were trying to prevent, home fires.
Yeah.
But they're really, really bad for us, especially if we're like, we're sitting on these items for a long time. So these days you can shop for furniture that has a flame retardant free tag on it. Another thing you can do is choose foods like fruits and vegetables that are fresh or dried or frozen. I would try to avoid canned foods because they're often lined with BPA,
Mm.
and those are chemicals that are sometimes linked to breast cancer and hormone disruption.
Wow.
Um, Choosing safer nail polish. I know we like
Nail
her painted
polish.
nails, Carrie.
Oh my gosh. What
Yeah.
about dip? Do we know anything about dip?
Those are, to my knowledge, those are not good. There are a couple
Oh no.
places that are, they advertise themselves as non-toxic nail salons. So that's okay, but
Yeah.
just the garden variety nail shops around, in your neighborhood are probably not offering those non-toxic nail polishes. Because those actually have a chemical called phthalates in them, which is a hormone disruptor,
Oh,
um,
yeah,
and formaldehyde. You just, yeah, don't want that. Okay, another thing is when you are asked if you want a receipt when you're paying for something, decline the paper receipt. The reason is because the printing of the receipt contains BPA, which is an endocrine disruptor. So ask for your receipt to be emailed to you.
oh wow. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
If you use dry cleaning, ask or find a dry cleaner that doesn't use certain chemicals that are called VOCs. I don't do a lot of dry cleaning, honestly, because I'm just so casual, but I know there are people who have to, use dry cleaners. But a lot of the chemicals that they're using are just not good for us. I mean,
Wow.
just go into a dry cleaning place and just smell it, just inhale, you'll
Oh
understand.
yeah.
You know, that smell.
Yeah.
Also non-toxic mattresses. Yeah, there's several brands of non-toxic mattresses that have come out lately. Avocado comes to mind. I haven't done that yet because they're an investment, right? And we're not due yet for a mattress. So when we are due, we're going to be definitely doing our research. And also one more thing, not using conventional perfumes, you know, or colognes. Like I mentioned earlier, those contain phthalates, which are hormone disruptors. There are, though, a couple of clean brands that I really like that don't have those phthalates and hormone disruptors, and they smell amazing. Henry Rose is one of the brands that I like, and Fleur. So those are just, you know, like some tips that you can use that just around your house. Pretty simple. It
Yeah.
does it, you know.
We'll put that in the descriptive box, either in the comments or on YouTube. We'll put this underneath so you can have that list, which is really awesome. Or if there's a link to go back to that information, that'd be great. We'll share that. Yeah. Any other last minute tips that are most important? Like anything with, well, we talked about food in general, and we all know if you could buy organic foods, that's what you should be doing. Obviously, shopping the perimeter of the store versus down the aisles is most recommended. And, you know, be careful with the supplements that you're using and making sure that they're quality supplements, because those, a lot of them aren't regulated. So you want to make sure you're finding from a reputable place. And of course, smoking, we don't even need to go there.
Right. It's kind of we all know where that goes. Right.
So yeah, I mean, those are all some very practical tips. And yeah, anything else you want to share?
I can't think of anything. I don't know if anyone has questions. I can't see them, but
No, I don't see any questions at the moment, but maybe a lot of people will watch this on the replay too. So they can always feel free to put your questions and we will definitely see them and we will answer those for sure. So Morgan, tell everybody where they can find you. And you got such an amazing Instagram. I love your Instagram account. You are so active on there, probably better than anybody I know. So where can
thank
they
you.
find you on Instagram?
Well,
And you have a new website too, right?
yeah, I do a lot of Instagram. My Instagram handle is Morgan_RVA.
Oh, that's easy.
Morgan_RVA, the RVA being Richmond.
Yeah.
And then I have a website. It is Morgan B. Adams. My middle initial is B as in boy. So morganbadams.com.
Love it.
And I have, you know, just some, I don't have like a lot of education at this point. I'm still tweaking the website, but I do have a lot of links to products and services that I use and recommend. So if people want to look at more of that, they can go there.
I love that. So morganbadams.com and Morgan_RVA on Instagram.
Yeah.
Morgan, thank you so much for being a guest with us today and teaching us, sharing your story. It's so great to hear that, you know, we're all just human. We're trying to do the best we can in this crazy world that we live in. And we're so excited. So give you a little tidbit for next week. We have my friend, Dr. Erin will be on here. We got a little surprise with her. And then the following week is my friend Ella. And we're going to be announcing our 21 days of no alcohol or 21 days of questioning the drink. And that is our October challenge. So be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you for joining us. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.